This is just a story. That's what you're telling yourself right now, isn't it? Just a story. Fiction. Entertainment. Something to pass the time while you scroll through your phone, eat your dinner, or lie in bed waiting for sleep. And you're absolutely right. This is just a story. But let me tell you about someone. Someone a lot like you, actually. Someone who also thought stories were just stories. His name was Daniel. 32 years old. Marketing manager at a mid-sized tech company. Nice apartment downtown. Decent car. A life that looked good on paper and felt hollow, empty, like he was just going through the motions day after day, waiting for something to change. But nothing ever changed until the Tuesday that everything did. It started with an itch. Nothing dramatic, just a persistent, annoying itch behind his right ear. The kind you scratch without thinking, without even registering it consciously. Daniel scratched it during his morning meeting, scratched it again at lunch. By evening, he'd scratched it raw. Must be an allergy, he told himself. New laundry detergent or something. He took an antihistamine and went to bed. The next morning, the itch had spread. Both ears now. The back of his neck, and something else. Something he noticed when he looked in the bathroom mirror. His ears looked different, slightly pointed at the tips, just barely. Probably always been that way, he reasoned. Just never noticed before. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to explain things away? How the human mind will twist itself into knots to avoid accepting the impossible? Daniel was very good at explaining things away. When his hearing sharpened over the following days, picking up conversations from 3 offices over, he attributed it to less wax buildup. When colors started looking slightly different, washed out somehow except for certain shades of blue and yellow, he blamed his computer screen. Eye strain. Too much screen time. When he woke up one morning with a thin layer of brown fur covering his forearms, he couldn't explain that one. But he tried. Oh, how he tried. Hypertrichosis, he told himself, Googling frantically. Sudden hair growth. It's a medical condition. Stress-related, maybe. I'll see a doctor. But he didn't see a doctor, because somewhere, deep down, he knew no doctor could help him. The changes accelerated. His face began to stretch forward, slowly at first, then faster. His nose darkened, becoming wet and cold. His teeth sharpened. When he touched his gums, he could feel new teeth pushing through, pointed and predatory. He called in sick to work, then called in sick again, then stopped calling entirely. The fur spread, dense and brown, covering his chest, his back, his legs. His spine curved, making standing upright uncomfortable. Painful, even. He found himself moving on all fours more and more often, just to stretch his back, he told himself. Just to relieve the pressure. His hands were the hardest thing to watch change. They had been so human, capable of typing 60 words per minute, capable of holding a coffee cup, signing documents, texting friends. Now the fingers were shortening, thickening, the nails darkening into something that looked disturbingly like claws, like paws. He tried to type an email to his boss, explaining his absence. His fingers wouldn't cooperate. They slipped off the keys, too clumsy, too thick. After 20 minutes of trying, he'd managed, can't calm in sick, He stared at the screen for a long time after sending that. Now here's where the story gets interesting. Here's where I need you to pay attention. Because Daniel was hungry. He hadn't eaten in 2 days. Hadn't been able to bring himself to, somehow. Nothing in his refrigerator appealed to him. The leftover Chinese food smelled wrong. The protein bars tasted like cardboard. Even water seemed off. But when he opened the cabinet under his sink, looking for cleaning supplies, and caught a whiff of the dog food he'd bought months ago for his neighbor's pet, his mouth watered. No. He slammed the cabinet shut, stood there breathing hard, trying to convince himself that hadn't just happened. That he hadn't just salivated over dog food like a... His stomach growled. Loudly. He held out for another day. Then another. His body was screaming for food, but his mind, his human mind, refused to accept what it wanted. On the 5th day, he broke. He told himself he'd just smell it. Just open the bag and smell it, and that would prove how disgusting it was. And then he could go back to trying to eat normal food. The smell hit him like a wave of pure pleasure. Rich and meaty and perfect. His hands, his paw hands, were tearing open the bag before he could stop them. Kibble scattered across the kitchen floor. He dropped to his knees. Then lower, his face inches from the food. "I won't," he whispered. "I won't. But his body moved without his permission. His head lowered, his tongue extended, and Daniel ate, not with his hands, not with utensils. He ate like an animal, face first into the pile of kibble, tongue lapping, teeth crunching, sounds of desperate consumption filling the empty apartment. He ate until the bag was empty. Then he licked the floor clean. "Are you uncomfortable yet?" "Good. Because this is the part of the story where I tell you it gets worse." Daniel stopped fighting after that. What was the point? His body wasn't his anymore. It belonged to something else now. Something that wanted to run on 4 legs, to howl at sounds in the night, to bury its face in food and eat without shame. His thoughts simplified. Not all at once, but gradually. Complex ideas became harder to hold. Abstract concepts slipped away like water through fingers. What remained were simpler things, basic things. Hungry, tired, happy, scared, want, need. He forgot his PIN number first, then his address, then his own last name, but he remembered how to scratch behind his ear with his back leg. He remembered how good it felt to curl up in a warm spot of sunlight. He remembered the satisfaction of a full belly and a soft place to sleep. Were those such bad things to remember? The landlord found him 3 weeks later, after the neighbors complained about the smell. Not death, thankfully. Just dog. Overwhelming, unmistakable dog smell. They found him curled up in the bathtub, which was the coolest spot in the apartment. His clothes had been torn away, unable to fit his changed body. Brown fur covered every inch of him. His face was entirely canine now, a long muzzle full of sharp teeth, dark eyes that tracked movement with animal intensity. When they opened the door, he growled. Then, slowly, his tail began to wag, because even though he'd forgotten his name, forgotten his job, forgotten everything that had made him human, he still remembered that people meant food, people meant attention, people meant good. He'd always been good with people. Now, here's where I'm supposed to tell you this was all fiction. Just a scary story to give you a little thrill before bed. Something to forget by morning. But here's the thing about stories. They have to come from somewhere. And as you've been listening to this, as you've been imagining Daniel's transformation in vivid detail, picturing the fur spreading, the face elongating, the mind simplifying, have you noticed anything? Any new itches? Any strange sensations behind your ears? No? Are you sure? Because stories are strange things. They get inside your head. They plant seeds. And sometimes, late at night, when you're caught between sleeping and waking, those seeds start to grow. You might find yourself dreaming about running on 4 legs tonight, about the wind in your fur, about the simple joy of existing without the burden of human complexity. And tomorrow, when you wake up, you might scratch behind your ear without thinking about it. You might notice that the sunlight feels especially warm. You might look at your lunch and think, just for a moment, that it would taste better if you didn't use your hands. Probably nothing. Probably just your imagination, working overtime after hearing a creepy story. But then again, Daniel thought that too. This was just a story, wasn't it? Sleep well tonight. And if you wake up with an itch behind your ear, well, I'm sure it's nothing. Good boy.